So the value of distributed compute comes in a number of flavors, if you like. So think about when you are computing. Why do people compute? People sort of get stuff done. No, the reason for compute is insight, right? You're computing to find out the answer to a question. And if you don't get the answer, it means you didn't figure out the why in the question in the first place, right? So what's your science question? And one of the biggest things that comes out of that is that compute is basically three things. It is the way you represent your data for accuracy. It's the algorithm that you use to express the calculation. And it's the underlying mathematics behind that, right? Now, if you do all three of those really, really well, you can run maybe 1,000 times faster, right? Each one of them is 10 and they're multiplicative. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. How fast do you get in practice? So when I was at JP Morgan, I introduced a particular technology onto the trading desk. This is back in like 2010. And we took a computation, and we've got published papers. You can go out and search and find them on IEEE. We took the overnight risk calculation for the largest credit derivatives portfolio in the world at that time, just after they bought Bear Stearns. We took it down from 14 hours on 4,000 cores to about 28 seconds, right? So how do we do that? Well, we attack the problem from those 3 points, right? And we have a compute platform that's built around that philosophy that you don't want to be moving the data all over the place. What you want, because it's expensive. And typically on a lot of high-end computing calculations, particularly in things like AI, which is now dominating workloads in data centers, you spend most of your time on a wall clock basis, moving the data from where it was to the calculations or the compute, and then doing compute and sending the results back, right? Why not change the paradigm? Why not instead take the compute to the data, right? And that's basically what our platform does. And we haven't really sold that in a way and with a message that I think perhaps has made clear to a lot of our customers. And that's perhaps because, we've been talking to and focusing on what we do as a cache. Cache is easy to sell and understand. So naturally, people gravitate to that. So we had a nice and easy diagram on the board today showing that what happens if you don't bring the compute to the data, and you have an extra leg in the process, right? It's as simple as that. You're now moving that data backwards and forwards. That's really expensive. Now, why is it going to be so valuable going forward? It's going to be so valuable going forward because as the compute loads associated with AI move down onto mobile devices, the so-called edge computing challenge, right? Instead of having to send masses of data backwards and forwards across networks, which, as you know, if you're a mobile phone user, can be a bit dodgy at times, you actually, if you have the data and a local compute on your phone, a lot of that can then take place on your individual instrument. And there are billions of mobile phones out there, obviously, and lots of iPads. So if you bring that data to the edge, and then you say, how can the likes of Apple and Meta, etc., get value out of that? The answer is then you send back the results of that compute in summary form back to the data center, and that's a fraction of the data movement that you were doing previously. Why does that work? Well, then you have this kind of idea of federated learning where, let's say, we're all using our iPhones, right? At the end of the day, our iPhones, when you go to sleep, the iPhone just sends back the weightings, if you like, in the current models back, and they can be incorporated far more efficiently than actually moving all the data. And a good example, really good example of that is electric vehicles. So I've got an electric vehicle, and last time I saw the calculation, when I was at Intel, they reckon an electric vehicle produces about 4 terabytes of data a day, okay? Now, 4 terabytes of data down a standard line is going to take you a long time. There's already about 2.5 million electric vehicles on the road, right? So you multiply that up, that's a lot of data. So doing the compute on the data at the edge in the device is much, much more efficient. We have a platform that's capable of moving from the data center, from the laptop, to the mobile device, right? I think that's an inherently very valuable asset to have, and it's going to become more and more valuable as AI begins to dominate the landscape of application development, etc. So from a summary basis, right, compute at the edge, we have a great proposition. Cost of compute is a very difficult thing to get at properly because what it doesn't include is the opportunity cost, right? It's almost like saying, okay, here's an answer to the problem, but and we go down that route. But we could have chosen a different answer. We could have done the counterfactual, if you like, and we have no way of carrying out the counterfactual to truly compare the total cost of ownership. But on a traditional basis of just looking at the costs you can see, yes, it can be a lot cheaper. But I think the story is much richer than that. There is a much bigger cost that's saving there. And at the end of the day, we don't want to be in a position of, if you like, going to our clients and say, we can save you money. That's good, okay, but it's much more attractive to be able to go to our clients and say, actually, our functionality enables you to do stuff you couldn't do before. That's revenue generating. So everyone wants to generate more revenue. And as Warren Buffett said, any idiot can make money. It takes real intelligence to hold on to it, right? So by enabling our clients to generate more revenue, supplying them with better products that enables their efficiency, they can hold on to more of that revenue generated.